Yeah, Art, my name is Chad. I'm from Boss Comtech. We're a special systems integrator, which is another name for an electrical contractor who likes to install cool stuff like this. We have been running into doing a lot of estimates for all the folks commercially that want to comply with Act 156 to do all their charging stations they need installed by end of next year. And we've come across, estimating on these, we're going to run into problems with permits based on, one of the things on the top of my head is bollards. When the inspector comes out, is he going to say the bollard, this wheel stop, which is a big difference between a $1,000 bollard and a $100 wheel stop, which will comply. Is there some type of discussion going on with you folks? I'm sure there is, but that's available for us to come and talk to you folks about how to best make this transition that we're in right now with getting those permits and keeping it smooth, I guess?
Yes. Essentially, myself, and let me just introduce my colleague at the Planning Permitting Department, Mr. Tim Hugh, who is the acting building division chief. He has all of the inspectors, all the electrical inspectors come under his jurisdiction. Essentially, I don't know, Tim, is there anything that you can add to what we're doing?
Yeah, we got to be honest here. A lot of this technology is very new, and personally, no one's come to actually demonstrate a lot of these devices to us. This is the first time I'm seeing a lot of this myself, so I can't really answer any of your questions because we don't know what the problems are. I mean, this is the 10th of this conference, so. Like this gentleman's here, I never heard of a UL-approved charging system until today. a lot of these devices we haven't even seen before. So we couldn't even imagine what a charging station would be and what the issues were. We've had discussions with certain individuals, but they give us vague packages. But I can understand, listening to a lot of this conversation today about partnership and competitiveness, that they're all trying to put plans together. So we didn't ourselves get information to be able to answer a lot of these questions. A lot of these things are now churning in our minds, Art and myself, that and in working with some of these providers, we can provide more of these answers. But to be honest, we can't be ready tomorrow because a lot of the information we just got today. So in answer to your question, I have to go back to my technical staff and take a look at what the issues are and understand what the issues are. There's at least 3 different types of installations here. I can't give you a definite answer as to each and individual one, and it's just one manufacturer I see here. So until I get more of these manufacturers and more of these pre-approvals, we can't even create an internet permit application because we have no device that we've pre-approved. So we're able to work, but we need more information. I mean, everybody has to get information to work on something. So the answer to your question is yes, we'll be working on it, but as we receive more information, we can give more definite answers. Correct. Yes, that's what we need. We need that information. Yeah. Thank you.
We're here to help.
I think, was there one question way in the back there? Did you get your question answered already? Okay, we have time. I think they're getting ready to pull the plug on us, so let's have one more question. And
this is my name's Alan Leonard.
Yeah.
I'm with Green Power Projects, and you just brought up some very important issues which come back to actually haunt the industry of photovoltaic in general. And that's, first of all, is that the state, actually, all the building departments are asymmetrical. They're not unified. Though in Honolulu, for instance, there's no charge to pull a permit for photovoltaic. What I'm seeing is that the building departments need to coordinate with possibly the state, like, for instance, the Department of Transportation. Everything is being brought up. The DOT probably doesn't have any more understanding than probably the city and county of building department. This is all pretty new. I just had a call from a guy who's been trying to build electric vehicles on the Big Island for about 18 years. When the EV1 was still even a thought process, he was building EVs in kit form, and he couldn't get any kind of charging integration in Hawaii. He had to go to California. That was decades ago. And I think right now we're seeing a really rapid movement where I'm getting calls from people because I posted my company on the state website. I'm getting calls every day for inquiries on pricing. And obviously the technology is now available, but the permitting is going to be going to have to step up. The city council actually has a lot of incentives which are already available. Nobody even knows about them. For instance, that if you put EV on your property, you get a tax deduction for 20 years. That applies. That they should actually probably introduce the same language which is now available for PV and should be included for as far as the no building permit fees for EV technology. But I'm just curious how you guys are integrating this from the state and the city and across the counties, because each county's building department is they're going to be reeling in terms of what's going to occur in the next probably 18 to 24 months. Thank you.
I don't know if it seems like we might have the right people in the room, and I think that's the purpose and the intent of this dialogue today. Do you guys want to take a crack at that? I think integration of the efforts between the city and the state and in the permitting process.
That's an excellent question, and we have been working with Ted and Margaret. They've come to us and asked for our input, and essentially we'll just continue to work with them until we get it right.
Good. I think with that, unless there's a burning question, let's do one last one, and we're going to wrap it up.
My name's Neil. I'm from Kauai. It comes to mind that the Director of Workforce Development, are there any plans on to develop curriculum, say at UH or the other community colleges on the other islands, specifically for this industry that seems to be blossoming here in Hawaii? The EV aspect, the PV aspect, and electrical orientation. Are there any new curriculums? I noticed there aren't too many universities that offer programs specifically in the renewable energy field, let's say the electrical side of it and hardware and software side of it. So I wonder, is the state going to develop new curriculums at UH?
We're either going to develop it or we're going to buy it. It's one of the two. It's one of the things that we've been doing. Because again, our problem is, I was trying to explain before, our problem was, how do we identify jobs and then start training people for whatever occupational skills that's going to entail with that job. That's one of the reasons we talked with Ted, who then put us in touch with a couple of companies in the EV field. One of the things that we're looking at is trying to develop curriculum or buy curriculum from these companies as developing which curriculum, no matter what kind of charging station it is, there's got to be some common elements to the construction of it. And then if those charging stations have something specific to that employer, developing a sort of second phase at the community college that would allow whoever's recruited for one company to then take that track after they get out of the first phase. I kind of like, I know that, and I don't know much about charging stations, forgive me, but I kind of like there was a discussion earlier about a universal charging stations. That way people wouldn't have to move back and forth. And that seems like something that would be ideal for sustainability purposes at the University of Hawaii, because it really wouldn't make sense for us developing a charging station curriculum or buy it. And then for one company, only 2 or 3 people would get trained a year for, the construction or maintenance of it. But certainly that's one of the reasons that we're here now is while we've made contacts with Aero Environment and I believe one other charging station company, which they've agreed that as they deploy money here to help us develop that curriculum and then to deploy it, it is something that we're asking for anyone else within the EV community to please partner with us. Because certainly one of the fastest ways for us to assist Ted and his office in the deployment of EV technologies, again, to ensure that we have the labor in place that doesn't impede the growth of your industry.
Okay, with that, I wonder if we could give a hand for the panelists today, and why don't you give yourself the hand as well? Appreciate all the dialogue. Wanted to bring start where we began and bring Ted Peck back up to the podium and get some thoughts from him after hearing the day of discussion. Ted?
Thanks. Well, I hope you all have had a good afternoon and that your thoughts have been stimulated. That certainly this is not an easy problem set that we're tackling, but I think it's unmistakable that EVs are here to stay. The technology is mature, and it's time. Electric vehicles have frontline privileges by statute in the state of Hawaii. And our office has an unambiguous commitment to making this happen. The challenges are manifold. This is not a simple problem set, as I said. But, again, our office, our middle name is facilitation. So don't be quiet. Bring problems to bear. We want problems because we're in the business of helping everybody work together to solve those problems. But I just ask you to have an attitude not of we can't, but of we can, and we have to. Thanks for your commitment to being a part of the solution. I do want to thank the person who put this all together, Margaret Larson, worked her tail off, and we really appreciate all her efforts. John Chen, who's our lead for Rebuild Hawaii. Thank you, John. And all our interns in here. We have about a half dozen interns in our office that work as hard as well and have had a great experience. Jordan, you're amazing. Mondi, you guys are great. Really appreciate all your efforts. And if you aren't planning on going to the Asia Pacific Clean Energy Summit and Expo, go around the corner, see if you can get registered. I think it's going to be an outstanding week. Hopefully we can reconvene and make sure that here 6 months down the road or so, we know where we are and we continue to lead. I think the nation's eyes are on Hawaii. We need to make this happen. Thanks for being a part of the solution. Have a good evening.